Call the meeting of the Selectmen to order on Monday, February 12th. Open session public meetings are subject to being videotaped. Your voice and image may be recorded. We have a 7:15 appointment. We will wait to start at that point in case there are other people who are interested in attending. So. All right. The first item is approval of the minutes from Monday, February 5th. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
There's just one typo in the last paragraph.
Okay.
Just two T's in matter.
Okay.
That's it.
All righty. I think then with that change, I'd take a vote.
All right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. Let's see. We have next the recommendations regarding the cultural mitigation fund requests, and I think this is going to take more than 7 minutes to talk about. So we will try to do that one right after the 7:15 appointments, and we'll try to keep that one short, all right? Okay. And next is a review of the position regarding the liquor barn license. We took advice of council on this back last summer. And I think others, have read this. We certainly reviewed it at the time. The position is this, that if something lapses or is not used, or there's an interruption, the Board of Selectmen, with the approval of the ABCC, can cancel and transfer a license. There have been court cases on this. The leading case is Saugus versus the ABCC, and in that court case, the appeals court deemed that this could not be done unless a 6 months notice was given. The ABCC takes a rather dim view of these things and has, from an administrative point of view, applied that to mean a minimum of 6 months. I would emphasize that this is not an automatic lapse. It requires action by the Selectmen and then approval by the ABCC. In July of last year, we sent a note to Liquor Barn indicating to them that we were concerned about the matter, and that we expect them to either exercise the license or submit an application to transfer it. And to date, we have not had a response, either oral or written, with regard to that.
Right.
Okay. So that's where we are. I would note that, a considerable amount of money was paid for this license, so I do think that we need to approach this with caution so as not to engender litigation. I guess I would suggest at this point that we send we send them another letter indicating that we need to speak with them urgently and understand whether their position is to exercise that license, or whether they wish to enter into negotiations with other parties toward a transfer of that license. I would suggest that we give them 30 days to respond to that. It is rather puzzling to me that they have not responded in all this time, but I think we need to give them that opportunity. As I say, the 6-month period, according to our counsel, has been indicated as an absolute minimum, and ABCC has taken a very conservative approach to our stepping in and canceling and issuing that to somebody else. And again, for obvious reasons, a lot of money was paid for that, and it's a considerable action on our part to negate that. So if the board concurs in that, I'd ask for a vote concurring with the idea of sending another letter and giving them 30 days to respond.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay. And again, that will be to advise us whether they intend to exercise it, or whether they intend to seek a party to whom to transfer that, and to give us sufficient details and documentation so that we know where they're going from here.
And
Fair
I
enough?
agree, oral or written is fine. Written is better.
I would prefer written at this point,
Right.
But certainly, I will indicate in the letter when we send it that if they have questions and they wish to talk to us, that's fine. But I think I'm going to ask for a written response to that letter, okay?
Yes.
Fair enough?
Within 30 days.
Within 30 days of
Okay.
the time it's sent. All right?
Yep.
Okay, so the vote is to concur to send that letter with those contents. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. I think we'll just hang for a couple of minutes here because I don't see anything that I can take care of in just 2 minutes here that's on the agenda.
The lockbox?
Hmm?
I thought you could get the lockbox.
Oh, the lockbox, that's for the fire and rescue?
Yeah.
Okay,
Easy one.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, I'd take a motion to authorize the installation of a lockbox, a locked mailbox in, presumably this mailroom is what we're
Yes.
talking about, for fire and
EMS.
EMS. Okay,
I'll make that motion.
Second.
any comments or questions?
No.
No.
Okay, hearing none, we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And yes, that letter is fine.
I can send it?
Yes.
Oh, good. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so we did get a couple things out of the way then.
Yep.
All right. Okay, next we have a matter of Mr. Choate regarding complaints concerning Berlin Auto Parts. Mr. Choate, you here?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to come up and take a
Sure.
seat? All right.
So, you guys granted Vaughn a driveway entrance in front of my house. Originally, it was supposed to be 180 feet further up the street. For some reason, it was changed without any notifications and approvals by meetings to abutters or people on the street, and it ends up being in front of my house. For, I'd say, since the driveway went in, I've been complaining about noise, trucks parked out there.
And as
vehicles-
you know, we've put in place, because of the issues of sort of he said, she said, that we put in place
I know.
the option of calling the police and
Which
having
I
them
have.
come up. And our information is that there have been very few calls indeed.
I
none.
stopped calling them. I have some pictures here of the past month. This is directly in front of my house. Hang on, I need my glasses. Trucks are parked there before the gates are open. The driveway was supposed to be an easement to enter the scale. Now it's basically a parking lot. There's trucks parked there before the gates are open, after the gates are closed, backing out, operating, you know.
Speaking only for myself, you know, I have a cell phone, I could show you pictures of my cat, and I couldn't tell you
Really?
when that was taken or where, and we have had a process in place for you to have the police come and witness it, and you haven't used it, and you just said you don't use it.
I stopped using it. I have called them, and a lot of times, even like after hours, 7 to 7, the crusher's still running. I'll call the police. They get up there. Everything's shut down when they get there, so they go away. Apparently, they're tipped off or something before the police get there. I have no idea.
I find that hard to believe.
Well, I know this is a small town and things are ran a little differently than other towns, but I know in Hudson, BP Trucking, which is a transfer station of rubbish and debris, no vehicles are allowed to be parked in front of that gate before operating hours.
And that's the rule here too.
But this is constantly happening.
It's really important that you do call the police. It happens though because, you know, then they can log it, and also it.
And every
my
time I
understanding is
do,
there are cameras there, so it also gives the opportunity to Berlin Auto Parts to rebut if possible. But if you just come in here and take pictures and we have no verification from a logging with the police or
again
no
though,
opportunity
these
for Berlin
pictures are
Auto
clear
Parts
as day.
to
The gates are
rebut.
shut with trucks parked out there. I mean,
And I think if you had called the police and they
by
had
the
come
time
over
they
and
get
seen
there,
that,
it's usually, you know, the gates have been opened or, again, you know, it's basically me against them, and, you know, they're a bigger
Well, that's
operation
the
than just
reason
me
that
sitting
we
there.
asked you to call the police, so it wasn't you against them. 'Cause
Again,
otherwise, it's,
I do call the police, and again, everything gets ignored. So, you're saying these pictures are null and void? They don't,
I'm saying
they
I
don't
can't
speak for
tell-
themselves?
no, I don't
Really?
think they do. I can't tell when they were taken. No.
I mean, look at the 18-wheeler sitting there with the gates closed.
Yes.
So,
I can't tell whether that happened at 7:30 and they were late opening the gates or what. They're not dispositive. We've given you a process. We have noted with the police to be quick to respond.
and again,
We've talked to the chief. They have indicated that they have been quick to respond, that they make this a priority, that there have been a couple of calls and nothing. There was no violation when they were called. So that's where we are. I just find it very hard to believe that this is happening every day and you're calling the police every time,
I don't
and every
call them
time
every day anymore.
people slip away.
I think the police
Well, you never
have,
call them every day. You call them very few times.
I think the police have enough on their plate than to listen to me complain about trucks backing in and out and crushing the edge of my driveway because of the
the
overweight.
police have on their plate what we asked them to put on the plate, and we've asked.
This
we
is the
have
end of my
committed those-
driveway.
Yes.
Now, it's being destroyed from the weight of the vehicles entering and leaving the operation there. I mean, even the road's all fractured and split up from the weight of the vehicles. That driveway's twice the width of the road, and they still can't cut the radius to make the turn without, you know, coming off the pavement. Now, if I were loading heavy equipment on and off a vehicle and destroying the road, I would think the town would be upset with me.
So let me just be clear, because I thought you were coming in about before hours
I am.
use. Okay. Is that your complaint, or are you making some complaint that this doesn't comply with the site plan or something like that?
I'm just saying, in general, that driveway wasn't supposed to be in front of my house. The original site plan was 180 feet up the street. And it just gets approved without any notification to abutters?
I'd have to look into the history of that, and I'm happy to do that.
I've been in front of the board before, and you're the only one on the board that I recall, and you weren't even at the meeting, you came in late. Yeah.
And as I say, if what you're asking us to do is to review the process of approval, then we can go back through the file and look at that. That wasn't conveyed to us, so we're not prepared to speak to that tonight. But if you're asking us to review that, we can review that.
Well, one other thing I'd like you to take into consideration is the trucks backing out of there. Should they actually be backing onto the road?
I don't know. I mean,
Does National Lumber have 18-wheelers backing out onto Route 62?
I think sometimes, yes. But
On a regular basis, though?
not on a regular basis.
Okay. This happens
But I also
on a
doubt
regular
that
basis.
kind of detail was included in the consideration or the original approval of it, whether somebody's backing out or
You know,
going in frontwards or going out
I know-
frontwards.
I know nobody wants to, step on anyone's toes here. But if this was in your backyard, I think maybe you'd have a little different perspective on things.
Actually, I live right next to National Lumber, and their trucks go right by my house within about, probably 10 or 15 feet of my house.
Are they destroying your driveway?
Yes, sometimes when they cut the wrong way, yes.
Yeah?
And then I generally deal with them because we're neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we also have to follow the rules. We have to follow the process and the rules that are in front of us. We can't just randomly decide that,
Again, the driveway was supposed to be an easement as an entrance, not a parking lot. There's trucks parked there all day long. People who work there,
and that goes back to process and calling the police so that we have the record log that they were there.
I've
We
even
need to
been
have the
threatened by
information.
an employee there, which I do have on tape.
Okay. There any comments or questions from the board at this point?
This
No,
is
I think
actually
we-
Monday. Couldn't even get out of my driveway because an 18-wheeler's parked there waiting for the gates to open. Last Monday.
Any comments or questions from the board?
I think Lisa's right. I think we need to follow the process, and Mr. Choate needs to follow the process too.
Well, I'll
If
keep calling,
it's happening that
but
often, then eventually, if it's truly happening, then the police will be able to
And
put
if it-
something in writing.
if it's daily, then it should be pretty easy for them to come and document.
yeah. Well, if you guys want me to be wasting the police time calling them every day when there's a truck parked out there, then I will.
We do. Because that's the only way we can document what's happening up there.
And I'm sure there are records of me calling the police.
Our information from the chief is that there
There's
have
one
been...
call from August that when an officer responded, they did not find it to be warranted,
Again,
at
here's
least by the time they got there.
the shoulder of the road from the truck
Mhm.
actually crossing into my property to make the corner out of the driveway.
I mean, from this too, though, I actually, they just put in Derby, and I could show you pictures that look exactly the same way, and I don't know that it's trucks. I think it's erosion and different, you know.
Why don't you come up sometime?
It just,
I
it goes
mean-
back to process.
Again, if that driver wasn't there, the trucks wouldn't be there. Is that not a fact?
The business is there, so, okay.
The driveway, I've been here since 1997, 20 years. That driveway wasn't there when I built my house. It was put in roughly what, 8 years ago? 7 years ago?
As I say, I'd have to look that up. Yeah.
So basically, you guys,
What we're saying is, use what we had suggested, call the police.
you know, there was...
If there are things happening, we will address it. Okay?
I guess so.
All right. Is there anything else beyond that?
What about the scrap metal? You know, it's supposed to be incidental. Now it's like a major part of the operation over there, generating a ton more traffic, a ton more noise. I don't, you know, I tell you what, I'm not benefiting from any of this. It's decimating the value of my property, if you ask me.
When was our visit up there?
I believe it was in June.
And at the time, it was incidental, as far as I remember.
Well, it's anything but incidental when they're bringing scrap in it, you know, tenfold what it would used to be.
So I'm not, I'm hearing assertions, but I'm not hearing a request. Is there something that you're requesting us to
I'd
do?
just like to request that you guys, you know, do something to enforce what was applied when I came in here the last time, when Walter was actually on the board. I know he isn't here anymore, but, you know, he was like the only guy who actually listened to me, you know? I know you guys probably don't care for him or whatever, but...
I've known Walter and been a friend for a long time. I would say this, that each year when we renew the license, we go up, we do an inspection. We take a look at the amount of space, etc., that is being used with respect to the scrap metal, and our judgment has been that that is incidental to the other work. We renew, the next time that license is renewed is...
Expires April 30th, May 1, so it's coming up in the next month or so.
So we will be doing a site visit up there. We will be discussing and considering renewing the license in an open meeting. You are welcome to come at that time. Okay?
Yeah. I'm just saying, you know, it's far from being an incidental process now. It's a major part of the business, which is generating an extremely large amount of traffic, pollution, noise.
Okay?
Basically, it's the traffic though, and the vehicles being parked out there when the operation isn't open.
We will consider that in the licensing process. Okay?
Yeah, and I'd like to be notified, you know, when the hearing is, or whenever your
It will
meetings
be on
are.
our agenda,
Because for
certainly.
some reason, when this driveway was, the site plan was switched from the original site plan, no notifications to me, and I surely would have come down here and voiced my opinion with that being placed directly in front of my house.
Do I hear a request from you that we review the file on that process?
Yes,
Okay, we can do that.
all right?
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, why don't we, at this point, go into the awards for community preservation purposes. Do the proponents want to come forward on this? All right.
Thorn in the roses here.
All right. Okay, well, when we talked the last time, we're still considering, how much, to pay out of this fund. Have you guys had any other thoughts about that?
For the playground one, I would say we asked for sort of the minimum of what we need to get the project done.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's quite a considerable more amount of money that we need to raise to get it done.
And Greg did send an email today that perhaps 40 out of the fund and 10 out of the general fund as the ask. That would be 20% of the total
So 20% would be,
out of the general fund of the total 50 ask.
and remind me again, the rest of the funding is coming from?
Grants,
Grants,
fundraising,
okay.
and our recreation account.
Okay,
For the recreation one, not the playground one.
right.
That's what you're talking about, right?
And for the playground, there was a request for the, is it called capital funding
Okay.
as well, which the school put in
Okay.
so that we could piece all the components together.
David, have you had a meeting of the capital planning
We had a meeting Thursday night, yes, with this
group? And the result, how did your group feel about the capital request from the playground committee?
From the
Playground
school.
committee was $50,000. We thought that was okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, the 60,000, wasn't it? From the
the
school
school.
committee.
60,000 from the school. I guess the one issue that we were thinking about when they came in, and I don't know, we offered some sort of advice, was that on town meeting floor, there are now 2 warrant articles, one from the school and one from this group. And we're thinking that perhaps the moderator can put them together somehow, because they both are related to the same, the arguments to be made are very similar, whether it's coming out of the school budget or the fund. So
Are they doing this as a special article for the school, or are they doing it out of their budget?
they're doing it out of their budget.
Out of their budget, so it's not a separate,
It's one of their capital items in their budget.
I thought there was a 60,000 article, 60,000 capital
Yeah, it's not in
request.
the school department
No.
budget. It's a capital article that shows up on your warrant.
okay,
So
that's what I was
So
asking.
I think there's a
one
little
of
bit of
their
confusion.
One of their, I think, 4 or 5
Yeah,
warrant
okay,
articles.
okay.
Right.
And so the idea would be to try to put them together so at town meeting floor, people aren't confused
Yeah,
about.
I don't
think that's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And the current funding in this account is now
96,000.
96,000. And you guys are asking for 50 at this point? And for the trail, we're being asked for 50, and then for the school, for the playground, we're asked for
50.
50 out of this fund.
Out of the 96, so that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That was 100.
Okay.
The walkway we asked for 40 out of
So
the
now
fund.
we'll do, yeah.
So that would essentially drain
Mhm.
the fund.
To 6,000.
Yeah, I said essentially drain it, yes.
Yep.
Yep. Well, I myself feel that, maybe putting in 35 and 35 and then asking for more out of the general fund would still leave something in here for another project, and I do think that this this fund, does provide, seed money and does encourage people to look at other things. So my own personal preference would be to maybe spend 70 out of this, leaving us with, $26,000 against another project, which might, as I say, be a recreation project. I don't know. But that's just one man's opinion,
Right. I know that the playground committee is asking for additional money from another source, which would take a vote at town meeting from the capital. It's a capital request. I think if the trail is asking for 40 and then 10 from the voters. Okay. I guess I don't have a problem with that. I mean, we'll just see how it falls out as far as how do people feel about it. And it is a good idea to at least have some portion of it be voted on, I think, as tax money. I think you have done that in the past.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, as I say, except for a couple of, really minor projects, a few $1,000s, they've all had, a pretty substantial component of people, voting money out of the tax rolls. And we talked about that before. I feel that's, when people put their money where their mouth is, that to me shows, that there's support for it.
Well, whether it's 10 or 15 or whatnot, I think one way or the other, I think it is a good idea to have something voted from taxes. I don't know about you, Lisa, how you feel?
I guess it's fine to ask that part comes from another place. I'm okay with that. I'm not sure how much difference I know that you're thinking that 25 is a better seed money fund, but I also just think, these are very good projects, and I guess it doesn't make that much difference to me whether that money is used here or used somewhere else.
Well, I would take, shall we take a motion first? Because obviously we're very close, even if we did what I suggested, you dropped it down to 40. If it was dropped down to 35, you're still going for money. Obviously the impact would be more, on you, because you've asked for 50 for the playground.
Right. We've asked for 50 because the project costs considerably more than that.
Yes.
And if we don't come up with the funds, we would have to then ask the school to go to budget and find it. They have to fix the playground at some point. So we were just trying to get it done in an efficient way that with the community helping. So
Is it true that the playground really is not up to code right now?
you couldn't build it that way now,
Yeah.
but it passes whatever
Inspection.
grandfather. I don't know.
No, it hasn't been inspected in years, and
No.
what I've been told from the reps who have come to look at it is that, there are several things about it that would not pass an inspection. In which case, if it was failed, then we would be under a very big time restraint to fix it, or the kids could lose recess altogether.
Right.
So, you know,
We're trying to nip it in the bud, I guess.
Now, the existing playground is 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, ADA codes have changed, requirements. Presently, there's no ground level things for handicapped children of certain types of handicaps. The big slide is the fall height on that versus the ground around it is not appropriate, would not pass an inspection. So there's a lot of things that are just outdated, as well as the new playgrounds are built with more safety and more activities for kids other than just swinging. So we see some advantages and some reasons to upgrade just for the benefit of the children and the challenges that we give them, the activities, and some of the exercises.
And the availability to the handicapped children
Yeah.
that would come into the school.
That probably was not a consideration when the
That was
school's
not a
playground was
consideration
built.
when it was built.
One other question. I know that we gave some mitigation money to the school for pads under, I think
Yeah.
it's slides, swings?
Yes, and they can still be
And they'll
used.
still be
Mhm.
used?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. And then what things have to fall in line for you to get the rest of the funding? So in other words, if we voted, let's say, the 50K tonight, are there things that could happen that would prevent this project from going forward? I.e., you depend on a grant,
We are not dependent on a grant. We are trying to make it easier for the community by getting some grants and some funding that way. It would still move forward. We may have to redesign a little, but we're hoping that that's not going to be the case. What we would do is, we've already had, the teachers are already starting a fundraiser now, an art fundraiser that they're doing that's been very successful in other schools. We're also doing other fundraising, and we're going to ask out to the community some sort of a thank you if they donate, or like they did in the other playground, bricks. It might not be bricks, but a specific way to thank people for donations. So we have many different plans. Some are in process, some we're ready to jump on. We just have to, we can't raise the amount for the entire project, so we have to see where we're at so that we can raise the remainder.
Yeah, and the only reason I'm asking that question is, and we put a similar condition on a library a grant last
certainly.
year, is that if for some reason this doesn't go forward, in other words, if we give you the 50,000 and you were dependent upon a grant and the grant program went away or something like that, I'm just seeking to see whether we needed to put some kind of condition that would bring the money the money back into this fund in the event that you didn't use it. But it sounds like you have a pretty fair degree of assurance, right, that this will go forward and there aren't any bumps in the road that would stop this. Is that correct?
Okay, that's correct.
And your time frame for this?
I don't.
We'd like to install it this fall,
Your time frame is within a year.
within a year.
Yes, it's within a year.
Okay. Okay.
And I think it sounds like a project that is going to happen, whether it's funded this way or another way.
Yeah, and that's what Rob was explaining. One way or another, it's going to have to get done because if it gets inspected,
Right.
and it's just going to be shut down, and then will definitely come out of taxes.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I would add is, it's a great project, and what other town project can we do that 200 people are going to use every single day, and enjoy, and we want those kids to be happy and exercise and be. And
Oh,
be
no,
safe while they're
believe me,
doing
I
it.
don't. I fully support the project and the idea of doing it. All I'm trying to figure out here is the best way to manage.
I know
this
50
particular
grand, it does
fund.
sound like a lot, but it's also seed money for this project, because it's so costly in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
comparatively, it might not be that much compared to
Other
where the
projects.
mitigation money's going. For all the projects. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
Yeah. It's almost
Um,
right in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
I have one more question to
Yeah, please.
maybe ask the board or or the group that's putting the walking trail in,
That'd be-
has it, has it,
Yes, I'm kidding. It's like, who exactly am I talking to when I ask the question?
We
Yeah.
just did the same thing.
Yeah, really, you should have.
I mean,
Right in the middle.
that's-
Yeah,
that's-
team walk and team playground, you know? Okay.
So it's on town property, and should we at some point, the walkway?
The walkway, yes.
Is on town property, whereas the playground is on the school property.
Mhm.
If there were a point where we decided we're going to build a new library or move a building, you know, a facility there of some sort, would this, you know, interfere? Have you thought about that? That's all. I just wanted to like throw it out there to see.
It shouldn't
If you had any-
interfere because the walking trail is gonna go around the perimeter of the
Right.
property. In addition to doing the perimeter of the school, and what they did when they laid this out, they went back to a 2000 plan that was drawn on behalf of the town by an architect that they hired to do that, to lay out that whole ground, and the trail was part of it. So in addition, the only thing that they would like to add on walking, and if you wonder why I talk for both sides, they've asked me to help them just with the construction part of it.
Okay.
But they were gonna add a link to the Northbrook Village. They'd like to
Right.
have the seniors be able to access it on a good asphalt walk for walking, for walkers like I use sometimes, and wheelchairs and whatever. And also to tie it in with town's permission to Keys Road, because Keys Road would get walkers on that side of town or of the center access to it also. So there'd be several other access points in addition to the one right at the school.
Nice.
But it should not interfere with future projects.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
So really, we just need to lay out how we want to do this, right?
Funding, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes,
I
no,
think
that's what
we're
we,
at the point
Exactly.
yeah, I think that's,
we need to lay
I just
out.
wanted capital planning, any further comments, any?
We were concerned about the not spending a total of 50 because the fund wouldn't allow it, so we.
Yeah,
thought
that we got.
We talked about 30, 50 and 30, but it could be split anyway, so we're gonna leave that in, that's really up to your guys, but.
Thanks, David.
We did kind of stress.
Change the numbers again.
We did kind of stress that they had talked about phasing it or doing different phases, and we sort of discussed that, and I think they agreed that just do the part that not around the school because there's some wetlands involved, but just stay on that base, what was just described here, and leave it at that, and kind of simplify it a little bit, and maybe draw the cost down a little bit, and that would be helpful too, I think.
But the cost that we've been given an estimate on was the cost for the non-school parcel anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
That, I thought that I understood that.
Yes, that's
Okay.
right.
So we're in tune with that.
We are in tune with that. All right. Since you had a clear vision of what we have to do now, would you like to make a motion?
Okay, I kind of like Dave's sort of halfway in the middle, sort of there with the, so I'm gonna move that we do 30 from the fund for the walkway, 20 from the general fund,
Okay.
and 50 for the playground from the
Okay.
fund.
I will second that.
All right. Are there any further comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor? Aye. So that means, effectively, that means that our award out of this, because tonight, the vote is what we're awarding out of this. So we have awarded 50 to the playground and 30 to the walkway. The warrant article, as I say, it can be a single warrant article for the walkway, and it will simply, the motion underneath it will be to expend $30,000 out of this and 10,000 out of, obviously we'll talk to FinCom that would be an appropriation. But that motion could be made under one article.
Okay.
Okay?
And that's, you'll fix that?
Yes.
That
We
warrant,
will be
okay.
sure that you have an article under which you can make that motion.
Yeah, okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
All righty.
Perfect.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Sorry to keep you so long and belabor it, but thank you.
Thank you.
Can they, well, I think David mentioned this, combining the capital article with the 50 from the fund for the playground. So there's one
I think
article.
because they come out of two, I think where it's a special, I mean, we can look at that, but I think because it's coming out of the school, that may be difficult.
No, it's
to
a
do.
capital item, correct? So it's coming, right. But the school, you're right, it's school sponsored.
Yeah, I mean, we can,
Yeah.
Can we look?
yes, we
Yes,
can
agree
certainly
to
take a look at
and see
that
if that's
and
possible.
see. But I think the fact that the school is paying for part of it may make that more difficult. But obviously, if we can, we will.
Right,
Okay?
okay, sounds good.
All right. Fair enough?
Yep.
Okay.
On page 7 of the draft warrant, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 BMS articles,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
or school department articles. It's the fourth one. $60,000 to remove the existing playground and install a new playground.
Right,
So it'd just be tinkering with that and making it blended.
either that or have one
We
and
need
then
to,
another.
yes, as I say, I think we need to see, ideally, okay, we would add, you said that was 60?
Yep.
Ideally, what we might like to have is something that was 100, that article saying 110,
Yeah.
60 to be spent,
Right,
to be raised in one particular way, and 50 to be appropriated from this fund, okay?
Yep.
The thing we need to check is, because we're, going over the boundary and one of the funding is the school, but the fact that it's a capital expenditure, we may be able to do that, but that, we just need to check that, okay?
And then recreation likewise did that on page 3. Same idea.
Yeah, and the recreation one is no problem. That
Yep.
one, we will just do the article for the whole amount, and we will say in the motion that $30,000 comes from this, and the rest comes from wherever we determine as, this runs through the normal process with FinCom and so on. Okay? Fair enough?
Yep.
All right?
yep.
Excellent. All right, hang on, let me just reshuffle things here so I'm... Okay, that's that. Okay. And that's it. All right, we're back to it. We have not received anything from the departments in terms of legislative requests.
That's correct.
Yep. As I say, my only, my only big one is that
40B.
I really think that they need to look at 40B because,
I think that's the big one for me too.
yeah.
I also think healthcare. I think that the town is getting killed with healthcare. Our people are getting killed with healthcare. I think that's another area that something needs to be done.
Okay.
And then I know that Tom Galvin had, we are struggling with the funds for police training in our area.
Okay. Oh, so that we did get something, okay.
That was just something, we had talked about that long before. The resources for training police in this district are much less than they are in the greater Boston area.
Mm-hmm, okay. All right, and then how do we want to do that? Do we want to have one of us volunteer or be appointed to meet with him and carry those things forward? And
I mean, it's even simple enough, I could email him. I don't know, do we need to have him?
well,
I think it might be worth.
yeah, he wanted
him-
to have a meeting, and I think
I think it might be worth him actually coming to meet all of us, since we do have to potentially work with him and pass legislation. We have some things that may be going to special act and that, and I'd like him to sort of have in his head that who we
well,
are.
I think I definitely would want him to come in,
Yeah.
to a meeting and introduce himself. My understanding is that he indicated that he wanted to have a, preliminary sort of off the record discussion on some of these things, I think partly so that he could be prepared if he comes to a full meeting. And we've discussed the issues with respect to open meeting law of meeting with more than one of us.
Yep.
So what it seems to me at this point, it seems to be on the table, he's expressed an interest in having an informal, discussion. We've expressed an interest in having him come here, and those things are not mutually exclusive. So my suggestion would be that one of us, could meet with him and report back.
I think you had volunteered last time.
I did.
All right.
I did.
You
I'm
did.
asking.
I think you did.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it might be worth, depending on where you're going to meet, it might be worth having Tom Galvin sit in on that.
Yes,
Yeah.
for
For
an
the
explanation be helpful.
Yeah.
Um,
He's got a lot of information.
Okay,
So.
And I don't mind preparing some talking points on 40B.
all righty.
All right. And do you want to provide some on healthcare if you have any?
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
So why don't we'll prepare some talking points for next week, and then you can set up a meeting. And then again, we should say that that's a preliminary meeting, and we would very much like to have him in here sometime in the next couple of months if he's available.
All right.
Fair enough?
Yep.
All right. Okay.
Does it have to go back on next week, or you just want to, am I gathering them and sending them off? Just sending off to him to go ahead and just meet up with Chris on their schedule?
We're just preparing some talking points for Chris. I don't think you need to necessarily put it on. It's not
They
going to
can
be.
go ahead and agenda a meeting for themselves, her
Right.
and, okay.
Yes.
But I don't want to set a meeting until I get your talking.
Right.
Yeah, I
So
got you.
whenever
Yeah.
you
So
have a
and it's, I
chance.
mean, yeah, there isn't going to be, I think, a lot of discussion. It's just
Yeah,
we'll put
this is
we'll
it.
put down some bullet points and say here. Okay.
That's right.
And then you can schedule it once you have that.
Okay.
Okay? All right, the next is the case of the replacement of office furniture, okay?
I was thinking I was going to bring marbles into the room where the conservation meets, because the table would be really fun with them.
Okay?
I haven't walked around yet and got a tally of the broken meeting room chairs.
Okay.
I was wondering if you wanted me to just come in and do it.
You count them?
I can do that.
Oh, okay. We can do it together.
Sure.
Okay,
I was gonna stack them up, as I told Tom, because Keith has an employee who thinks that some of them might be fixable. So I
Well,
was
that's what
gonna,
we'll figure out.
okay. Well, I don't know if we can figure it out, but anyhow, I can stack up the broken ones and have him take a look at them.
Right.
Not on that list, though, is in room 227, the hearing room, the extremely warped meeting room table.
Like I said, marbles.
Yeah, called the Wave. I don't think it's really fixable.
okay.
Is this something that we're talking about maybe doing replacement for this year, or are we just
Well,
putting
Hasn't
them on a
started.
list, or?
I mean, my own feeling about this is that I really don't want to do a special article on, replacing a warped table.
Yeah. It seems like
Um,
it should be something sort of ongoing.
And so my own feeling is that we should put something in we have an amount in the budget for expenses for public buildings, and we put a certain amount in there. if we have to put a certain amount more, if it's $3,000 or something like that, to sort of ongoing, replace things like broken chairs, then we should just do that. But so I would, I guess I would favor getting a count on these things. And let's try to put a pin through, fixing them, but my sense these are not hugely expensive
No.
chairs. Can we try to put a pin through this over the next couple of weeks and then consider amending the public buildings budget to add some few $1,000s for the replacement of what we can identify at this point? I've heard a dozen or more chairs and a couple of tables is what I've heard so far.
Right, I think, once we figure that
And,
out, then we can figure
yeah.
out the...
So if we solve the mystery of what's really broken, we can fix it.
And MassCore may be a good option for most of this stuff.
What is?
I had sent you the stuff on MassCore.
Yes.
Which you had mentioned. They may be a good option
I
for
was
most
here
of
when they
this.
came and saw Mary. It was interesting.
Yeah, it
I'm
really
sorry,
was.
MassCore is?
Mass Correctional has sort of groups that do chairs, tables, printing, all kinds of things, and you don't actually
They
have
construct chairs?
They're
they
inmates.
take chairs and they upholster them and do different things. So they would take this kind of chair and upholster it.
If it was
if it was
upholsterable.
upholsterable.
They would
Um,
repair it.
I'm not sure about repair it, but they could probably do gray chairs that look similar to these if you spec it
But
out
we have
for
to have
them.
a chair for them to upholster.
No,
No.
they order the chairs in pieces.
Oh,
and
okay.
construct them and upholster them.
Okay, so they're a
It's more
supplier.
cost effective, we could look into that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No,
My
and that's
understanding
fine.
is costs are lower.
That's great.
And you don't have to go through procurement with that.
Okay,
So it seems like it might be a good option.
okay. No, I think that's fine. But that is, if we simply add a few $1,000s to the budget for these replacements, and we haven't done that on an ongoing basis, and this building's been in use for 20 years at this point, so.
Yeah. Well,
We're
maybe
going on
I can
20
get it. I can probably come in sometime this week and
Okay.
let you know.
So, or in order to get some kind of order of magnitude, whether it's, $2,000, $3,000,
Right.
$4,000, as I say, I've heard a dozen or so chairs and a couple of tables so far, but
And then what were the other things on that list that people...
June was asking more in general about everyone's office furniture, since I think the building started with used office furniture in the first place. So she wanted to know if there was any eye towards not replacing the broken things we have in hand, but everything, and when, and whether that was going to be part of any kind of process to track when to turn over things, in general. I think my desk is from the early 70s. It works, but it's older, and it came here 3 decades old when the building was built,
Well, we might want to just do an assessment first and figure out, what we've got.
First, okay, we want to identify the things that are broken.
Right.
Okay, and replace that. I don't want this thing to become this,
Right.
and a policy for because that's, we're very late in the budget process. If we
Yeah.
want to do something like that, it seems to me that's something we should do in the next budget process. We should be thinking about it, but I don't want all those larger considerations to so cloud the issue
Right.
that
We don't end up
we,
fixing the things
that we
that are
don't end up
broken.
fixing just the things that are broken, Okay?
So, and then
All
why
right.
don't we could put that on the agenda for a year from now, or even earlier than that, talking about
What to do
replacement.
next year.
If we're
I
going to
think
do
as
that.
we get into the budget cycle for next year.
Right.
And again, we have a capital, planning that can help with that at this point. So I think let's look at that in the next budget process, but at this point, let's fix things that are broken and that we need at this point. And I do think that, at least from what I've heard, that's going to be a fairly small addition to the municipal building expense, and if we don't use it, that goes back to the town at the end of the year.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
Just a point of order, are there
Yes.
any more, is there gonna be any more of discussion on warrant articles?
Yep.
Oh, yes, sorry.
We can hang
5
out
minutes
for a
past
while.
eight.
No, we can do that. I would accept a motion to close the annual town meeting warrant because it is just a bit after 8 o'clock.
So moved?
Second.
Okay? Any comments or questions on that?
Nope.
Okay, then we'll take a vote. All those in favor? Aye. All right. And I think, yeah, we can go on to talk about warrant articles at this
Okay.
point.
Their copies, should we come up? Or
Yes, please do.
Everything you have is everything you read.
That's it? No more new ones.
This is cool.
Yeah,
That's
John Solera's work.
John Solera and the committee. We all had input in it. And the first,
Great, I can actually read it, yeah.
and it's printed, thank
It was an inspiration to put it on
Yeah,
larger
thank
than
Richard
8.5
for
by
that.
11.
He's got
Yeah, I love it, I love it, I love it.
We don't have to squint. And so, I guess I'll start with the back first. I don't know if they have this page?
Yes, they do.
We do.
Okay, so the first, what you see without the orange on the spreadsheet is this first graph. So the raw data from the department heads is shown in the pink, starting with 2019. At, read it for the benefit of the audience, $2,507,000 for capital requests. And then going down to in 2022, 730,000. So, and the shape of that curve is not, that bar graph is not great because everything here is loaded in next year. And so our job was sort of to balance this out, level it out, and in general lower them if possible.
Yeah.
And so on the left-hand side, you can see the orange bar graph, and you can see what we've done. We've eliminated some of the capital requests, and we've also moved them into future years where we talked with the department head and said, do we really need to replace the roof? It's still under warranty. Yeah, we could do that. So there's trade-offs, if you will, in the committee, and also there was a large request for conservation of $1 million, and then $500,000 there for years thereafter. We took that out. We thought that was unreasonable to ask for funding without knowing what it's going to be spent on.
I think they are re-looking at those articles.
Okay.
I think the intention is to revisit
Yes, okay.
those requests.
And are possibly getting money from some other source, refunds or tax title land or whatever. I'm not sure that they're looking at that, I believe. So the other thing we recommend is the Community Preservation Act, where we're put money aside for open space rather than, and get some grant money from the state or matching funds. So as a capital planning, looking at the real estate, we're thinking that's a better way to invest in it than borrowing money on a sale that may or may not happen. So in any case, what you see then, so any questions on that? That's basically what was our goal, was to do that. And
So, this is what came into you, and this is what you're recommending on the back end of the process,
yeah,
correct?
and what we're recommending may get tweaked a little bit
No, that's
between
fine.
now
I
and
just-
when we meet. I think we're scheduled to meet late February, early March, because we have to make a report to you. And so this isn't a formal report. Because the warrant was closing, we thought we'd come in.
Yeah.
So there may be a few more tweaks here, but that's generally where we're headed with that. The spreadsheet in white is what was originally proposed, and then in orange are the changes we made. It's a little bit difficult to read, but basically it's and it's by department. numbered by department. So it starts with public buildings and then proceeds through the different departments. You can see where it's orange, the changes that were made. So, for instance, the shingling, shingle public safety building.
That's the roof shingling, correct?
Yes, 20-year shingles. So it's still under warranty this in 2019. So we're moving it to 2020, and it actually may go to 2022. It
Are there
could.
repairs that need to be made, or is it just?
That's reshingling the roof.
Yeah.
But is there areas that need to be repaired? Or it
There
just
could
wants
be
to
some
put it on?
minor repairs.
It wasn't mentioned in the application.
It wasn't mentioned in what we received, but I'm assuming that the facilities manager would take care of those minor repairs in the meantime. If there's leaks and
And
things.
obviously, the justification would, if we had leaks, et cetera, then I presume the justification would have noted that. So,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, it would have noted that. So, and then the first item was 170,000 for resurfacing the parking lot, and we have talked about that for a number of years, and so we left that in right where it is because it.
Thing we've been talking about since I was on the town.
Yeah, so that's
My understanding is that's sort of a safety issue at this
it's a safety issue at this point with people tripping and plowing. So that goes through. I don't know whether we want to go through the whole list, but
It'd be interesting just to browse it ourselves.
yes, there you can see in line 5A the Conservation Commission, and then below it is what we did, and we just said Community Preservation Act issue. We don't know whether that's going to pass or whether it's going to, but we're thinking that would be the way to go on that. The ambulance is now in 2019. We now have enough funds from the receipts for ambulance receipts to pay for it. So that was left just where it is. The pumper and tanker, it was split because of the way the funding works from Highland Commons. So we moved it from, it's the same amount, 425, but we moved it into 2020 rather than spend 150,000 this year and 275,000 next year.
Part of the justification of that was that it's a more than a year-long process just to get these things built.
And they could
So
go
what-
through ordering.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, no, that's the reason for, they divided it up because they wanted money up front to get the process going, where it's really mostly administrative, we think, right?
Yeah.
So why split it when you can spend it later?
Okay. So they don't really need the 150 up front to
There
get the
wasn't-
process started.
I'd like to say that one of the things that the form that we gave every department to fill out, the justifications were kind of thin, so it was kind of hard to tell really
Have
what
you
the
talked to
problem
them,
was.
for instance, that, it's because I think your question is,
Mostly.
do they have to put 150 down to get the thing started or something? Is
Yeah,
that why?
well, some of that tweaking I mentioned could be something like that, where we'll sit down with them and say.
All right, so
They'll-
basically,
have it.
what you've done at this point
Yeah.
is, you've taken what they requested, you push things out, but now you have to have a further discussion.
Further
to say,
discussion.
Oh, we can't do that because of what, or.
Right.
so. Okay,
There's a good
fair enough.
justification for doing it the other way.
Yep, okay.
We're amenable to
Okay.
it. And then the 35,000 for the trailer.
What is a UTV trailer?
It's a-
Utility terrain vehicle, which means it's like not a little ATV you drive around in the woods, it's bigger.
Oh, okay.
But it does
It's a
the
bit
same
bigger.
job. You can
Like a
drag
gator.
a
Like
trailer.
Like a gator.
Called it like
Yeah.
a gator.
A
Didn't
gator.
they put in for
Yeah, was it?
a grant for that? And then maybe they didn't get it?
I think this is the trailer for it,
The
right?
trailer for it, okay.
I guess.
Yes.
Well, a trailer is to
trailer.
carry it out to the woods, to
Right.
the parking lot.
Right.
And then they unload it from the trailer, and then they
Right.
go into the woods with it.
This
And it does
actually
say
says
through a grant or
through a grant.
mitigation funding. So if that's the case, will they get it? If they get the grant, do they have to buy it and then is it rebate? I don't think so. I think they get the grant and then they buy it. So get the grant, then we'll buy it,
Right.
Yeah, I don't-
But
yeah.
so we're not going to put the money out and then not get the grant, so.
So their capital articles are requesting the full 425,000 for the pumper tanker and a full 35,000 for the UTV
Yep.
and trailer.
And that's fine, that's what it should be right now. Because,
Yeah.
you know, these,
Splitting
you
it-
you still
splitting
have
it
to
to-
talk, and then, you know, and then we can adjust them downward,
And,
if that's appropriate. Yep.
and we're really leery about raising this 2019 number up any higher than it is, because we were thinking that number should be lower than that on a typical year. So some of that will be with a discussion with the finance committee.
Okay.
So that's the first page. The second page is continues fire and EMS. I think the warrant article calls for $25,000 for engineering designs and plans for a bunkhouse, or I don't want to call it a bunkhouse. I guess it's finishing off the upstairs of the fire station for
Professional firefighters.
for professional firefighters or people that have to stay overnight and if they're on call. And then also down below they had another warrant article for the actual construction. It's $125,000 a year for 5 years. Could be more than 5 years, but we only asked them for the 2024. So we decided to put those together so that in the warrant article it should be 25,000, but somehow the townspeople should know that it's another $500,000 that we're going to spend. And do they want to build this or not? I mean, there should be a justification that this is what we want to do with this space. It's a lot of money, and if the decision is yes, let's go for it. I think it's 125 because they're depending on the mitigation money from Highland Commons on public safety money on an annual basis. They want to spend all of it every year. It may not be, and maybe that's how this project's going to work. It's going to be a series of contracts that one for the rough electrical, and then one for the walls, and then one for the plumbing, or I don't know how it's going to work, but it seems as though we should know what the cost is going to be. And maybe the 25,000 is for that, but at least we have some numbers here. They're planning to spend 125,000 a year for 5 years.
Well, I do know that the chief had gotten together for, you know, at least a 3 to 5 year spending plan on the public safety monies for, so this may
Yes.
come out of that, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's probably where it's coming from.
Have they given you that plan?
Yes,
Capital plan?
we've seen that, yeah.
Okay.
It goes to 2032.
Yeah, okay.
And then going down, everything looked okay. The chief actually did a great job. If you can see, there's a lot of fund where he's planning some of these expenses out into 2023 and 2021. So he's got this on his 5-year capital plan. So we put it on ours. In a lot of cases, we don't have that from some departments. So, but this is the first year.
Yeah.
To preface that with this is our first year, so we're cutting everyone a little slack, and we're not quite sure how it's going to work. But and then going down to the school department, we talked about those.
And you know, we should have you guys in when we're finished with this year's budget process and do, you know, sort of a post-mortem or whatever on it
Yes.
for the first year.
Yeah.
And see if there are systemic issues, like if for instance, justifications are too superficial for you guys to act on them initially or whatever. So, you know, we definitely should.
So we get some, well, we were doing that, we were here this afternoon wondering, there's not a lot of information here, and so, and that's kind of why we were reformed, because we were facing, you guys and everyone was facing, we're making these decisions with not enough information. So by moving these things out, if they're on the plan, at least the department heads and people can see that, you know, next year we're planning to do this, and people will see that in the future. So at least it'll be on paper. And the school department, the one thing the school department didn't approve was the line 21. The $40,000 is not a warrant article. We reconciled these this afternoon. The complete survey and review of building systems, mechanical, electrical, structural, will identify capital needs going forward.
Oh, okay.
So that line 21 is the one they didn't put in a warrant article for. And that's the one we would like a warrant article for.
They didn't put a warrant article of?
Well, they sent it to us. They said we're going to do a survey of the building systems, so that in the future we'll know what we have to do. Well, it's not in the warrant
Are they doing
articles.
it as part of their budget?
They were going to. I don't know how they were going to do it, but
Did I see an email?
What is this analysis? This is the reference for that whole thing. I didn't see this
40,000?
before.
yeah,
Is that this,
What was the other one?
number?
that's that number. Yeah.
So-
Page 7 are the 4 school articles.
Is this-
And the one that's not in there is the building systems study. So
I think the question is, are they doing that out of their budget?
They
'Cause
may be.
that's-
They may be.
they could be.
Yeah, I mean, that,
Maybe that's
they
why
could
they
have.
didn't
Yeah.
submit it.
Yeah, we haven't talked to them
Yeah.
since this afternoon.
that would be my guess.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be we thought because they put it in to us that it was going to be in there, but it's not. So, but there's the little. So we reconciled it this afternoon, and we know that it's not, but maybe there's a good reason for it. Then the highway department, getting down to the highway department, the combo dump truck and sander and plow for 180. It was part of, again, Keith had put that in his request because I was on the finance committee last year, so we knew it was coming. So we knew that it's a replacement. The hot top,
And we have the article for that?
yes, the warrant article is in there.
Okay.
For what? The
For the
truck,
dump
yes.
The truck.
The dump truck.
The
Truck's
dump
in there,
truck.
Yep.
And then the hot top road repair was for 70,000.
Yeah.
And you can see our orange line down below. We ran that out. It's about 70,000 every year. It's
Oh, yes.
chapter 90 money. So let's just put it in the plan.
Okay.
And it will show up on the bar chart, and we'll be able.
Didn't
And
put anything in for solar on the highway barn yet.
no, I didn't say anything.
I think he was going to talk to FinCom about it Wednesday night, but...
Okay, he's coming
So
in.
there's no article on that, right?
He must be thinking he's going to give you a heads up that it's coming next year. so I
Okay,
guess-
that could be, and we would
Yeah.
put it in the
Energy
plan.
committee needs to be involved in that conversation too,
Right.
Okay, all right,
because they've already talked about, potentially
all right.
a way to do that.
And then the last page was the mower for, actually, the mower had been 22,000 for 2020, and we split that to 11 and 11. There were two pieces of equipment, and we thought that it could be done in over a 2-year period. I think there was something in the justification about that. So that's a minor change.
So there are two separate motors that are, there are two separate mowers. that
Two
are-
separate mowers. There's a mower and there's associated equipment. So the idea would be to get the mower 1 year and the associated equipment the next.
Okay.
The cemetery, the driveways is, seems like the roads, Keith, the way it works is Keith usually orders extra asphalt because he doesn't want to come up short. So that, what do they do with this extra asphalt? Well, they pave some of the cemetery roads. That's
Okay.
basically what, they don't throw it away or send it back.
Yep.
They use it. And the equipment is right there, so that's how they work. And
I
it's,
don't think they have done the paving of the cemetery until like last year for the very first time in years.
is that right?
And
Yeah.
so they were going to do it, I don't know if they would need this every single year.
They were
But
doing pieces and parts, I remember.
Yeah,
the
and they're
explanation.
talking about doing the north cemetery, finishing the north cemetery, and they also have done nothing in the south cemetery. I'm sorry, just the opposite. The south cemetery is almost done, and the north cemetery up off of Highland Street, that's where they would like to put some. None of the roads
Their
are paved.
article is 15,000 for South Cemetery.
That's what it is, yeah. And then some of these other $15,000
Would go into
would be
the
for
north.
north
Yeah,
cemetery.
right, I'm sure you can,
Again, it's just not wasting the asphalt that's been ordered under Chapter 70.
Okay.
The trash compactor, the 5K installation costs wasn't included in that, so it may be a little bit more than that, the 23.3. It may be closer to 30,
I
but,
just asked Paul tonight, they're not submitting an article.
and that's right, there was no
article.
there was
They
no
don't have an
article.
article. And I double checked with him tonight, and he said that's correct.
Is that right?
Or
Okay.
wait,
Huh?
maybe they're waiting, or they should give it to
He thought
capital
that they would
planning
last
anyway.
more
This
than a
is-
year, with fingers crossed.
Who?
Paul McKell.
Well,
Paul
you have this
McCalc.
under 2020 anyways.
No, it's on the
Right?
2019.
No,
Oh,
2019.
There's one under both.
And the idea was that they,
Okay.
we had a long discussion about if one of the compactors fails and they just have one, that then they start hauling partial loads. And we went through an analysis of what it costs to have two partial loads versus one. It's like $150 a week,
I don't
something like
remember that
that.
discussion.
So like $150 a week. So you could run for a month for, it's not the end of the world if you just had one working.
So is this a replacement?
Yes,
one
it's a
of them?
replacement of the older one.
Okay,
They're having trouble getting parts for it.
all right.
So if they went back to just having a single one again, the concern is they're hauling partial. This way, with two, they're always hauling a full
Yeah.
dumpster, if you will.
Nice job.
And so we left. Actually, we did move it to 2020.
yes.
We did move it to 2020. So
Okay.
And that's consistent with the fact we have no article, so
Yeah.
and that was because we said for $150 a week, we can go with one compactor. If you don't need it right now. So, and we were trying to get things off of we were trying to bring this number down and at least move it back in future years. The library, the 25,000 for the well. We're there on it. It's a state DEP required. I don't know if they have a consent decree or what, but it's a shallow well, and
Well, where we are with that is that we have to have that water tested.
We haven't-
There was some email from
There
Janet
there is an
today.
email today.
Yes, that was about the administrative consent order. Basically, at this point, we're operating an unlicensed system, and the way to get that grandfather in a way that commits the Commonwealth, because if we're going to make any improvements to that building or whatever, we want to be sure that we have water and waste disposal, and
yes,
that can't be yanked out from underneath it. So we had a meeting in October with the library trustees and representatives of DEP. And the approach that we agreed to would be to enter into an administrative consent order. With respect to the well, it's really very pragmatic. We have to have it tested, and what we have to have it tested for is in the administrative consent order. If that shallow well passes the test, and some shallow wells do, then we wouldn't necessarily need a new well according to the administrative consent order. But
okay.
but here's the thing, that once you get this rolling, if it tests in a way that doesn't pass, then we would have to, replace the well promptly under the administrative consent order. So I think it's wise that this is in there for this year.
We're on board with it, and it's like I've also got a little circle. I would like to. We would like to see numbers under 2020, 2021, 22, 23, and 20. We would like to see some numbers in there on the renovation
Of the library?
of the library.
Accessibility issues and
Yep. We would rather not have it blank. We're a capital planning committee.
Right.
If there's a plan to do something to the library, what is the plan that we're asking?
Yeah.
Okay, very simple. It could be whenever, and how much? And it doesn't have to be to the penny, just nearest $50,000, whatever. But we need to put numbers in there so that people are aware that that's coming. And then making the decision on the 25 is maybe a little bit easier.
We made an award out of the the fund that we were just talking about.
The mitigation
earlier,
fund?
The mitigation fund, to allow them to go to, you know, a
In our-
conceptual
Okay.
and, you know, cost estimating level
Yeah.
of planning for this. However, we made that conditional on being able to resolve the water and sewer system.
Oh, okay.
Because there was no sense in spending that money
All
out
right.
of the CPA. So that's the connection.
That's the connection, all right.
With
So
the ACO.
that makes me feel a little
They
bit
will,
better. Yeah.
if we resolve the issues and are in compliance with the ACO, then we know we're on solid footing because that binds the Commonwealth as well.
Mm-hmm.
Then they will be free to spend the money to do
Some conceptual
the
plans.
conceptual planning.
And we could,
then they will be able to fill in the figures that you're talking about.
okay, all right. That's good planning. That's just logical, good planning. That's what we're here to do. So,
Yep, so that you won't get that until, you know, we
Okay.
resolve this first step, and then they have the money
all right.
to get those figures. But I think everybody's on
Yeah.
board that that's what that money is for,
Okay.
okay?
All right, that helps with that. Then the recreation, the wellness trail that we talked about, we had 30,000 for the trail,
And so did we now.
and so did you. And then one thing that's not on here, and pencil, I've got it on my copy. I don't think you have it on your
No,
copy.
I didn't get a chance to fill it.
With, right under recreation is committee, Berlin Memorial School Playground
Actually,
Committee.
before we pass over that, we voted 30,000 out of the mitigation fund, okay? But they want 50,000, and they're going to make a motion for that.
For another 20,000
Yeah,
under,
as I said before,
okay.
you know, as we develop, whether there's free cash or, you know, whatever.
yeah, that's part of this, the tweaking, because
Yeah.
we just, and then we had 000, you can see under review, because we're not sure that the trail's gonna be done. I know they said a year, but
No,
these projects,
I think it was,
or the playground.
playground.
The
might get
playground,
done a
they
little
said, would be
quicker.
done in a year.
Yeah.
I
But
don't
the
think
other
we had
trail, I don't know.
think we
Yeah.
had an estimate on the other.
So that's why we show under review for these 000s. We think there could be some funding as follow-ups,
I bet there probably
because
will.
it's
Don't you think?
it's not like this, there's a contractor that's gonna come in and do this. The way I see it, it's gonna be sort of, let's do this first, and then we'll do this, and there'll be some community involvement and things, which is great, you know, and the fitness stations and things. So, whatever, we're flexible on that.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of
No,
money,
I
but
think that's appropriate at this
whatever.
point, yep.
And so you could add the Berlin Memorial School Playground Committee on a line item and 50,000, and we would add that then to this orange.
Yep.
And then there's a summary below.
Also, I just wanted to note the permitting software, we're actually applying for a community compact IT grant for that.
Oh, okay.
That will go in this week, so with luck, that will come from if we get that grant, which is,
But it should be in the capital plan
Yeah.
regardless,
Yeah.
because wherever the money's
We've got
coming
the
from.
but that's
Yeah.
something to note, I
Yeah.
guess.
Okay.
Since you're noting.
Yeah, over in the comments, what's it called?
The community compact IT grant.
Okay. Back to IT.
Would you know before it goes to town meeting? No, you would
I don't-
let it go forward to town meeting.
As raise and appropriate?
The grant goes in this week. I'm not sure when the decisions are made. I can find
Okay,
out.
you could find out, or maybe a letter, or find out and say, our town meeting's May 7th. It'd be nice to know.
What if it's not awarded by then?
Well, then, the citizens.
Then we raise and appropriate, because
then
some
we
of
raise
these
and
work by
appropriate.
reimbursement too. You have to spend the money
Yeah.
in order
in
to,
some-
and
in
then
some
be
cases.
reimbursed, yes, so we
If
need to
the,
figure
if the
that out.
community knew ahead of time, if the town meeting floor, that the grant was approved, that would make life easier.
Of course it would.
And then we're about that too, you know. So that's where we are.
Just so you know, there's that yellow, this page, which is also part of your package
Yep.
there. All this is it fills in the data
In the school.
in the schools. It's not,
Okay.
it's just that we didn't get a chance to enter that information there.
Yeah, it's really that.
It's Robert Conry's.
The schools actually did a pretty good job.
Made a very nice,
They
you
kind
know,
of followed our
plan.
sample, and they made
Yeah.
up a 5-year plan. And we're hoping that after this first year, that more departments would have a plan like that internally among them. If it's a committee, they would have an idea of, where they're going, and it would help even this out a little bit. And
Actually, when I look at this, it seem like when they're talking about operating budget impact, when you look at 1, 2, 3, the third column down, doesn't it seem like they're saying that $40,000 is out of the operating budget for fiscal year 2019 for that item?
let's see, FY2.
That building existing conditions analysis?
Yes, the 40,000.
And they have operating budget impact.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess when I'm reading that,
so all of this is operating budget? I'm not sure that that's.
well, all I'm doing is reading the,
Yeah, I know. I see
Yeah.
that too, and I'm
Yeah.
just now questioning it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, traditionally they've been warrant articles, and in addition to what is in their operating budget.
Is the gym and HVAC platform a warrant article?
Yeah,
That is a
Okay,
warrant
so this
article?
might be a misnomer.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I was just,
yeah, yeah. We talked about
Okay.
them getting to the air conditioners with long ladders.
The 30
There's a
and
ca-
the 103 are both warrant articles.
okay,
And the 40 isn't.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
I thought I was seeing something, but apparently that just didn't.
But it's a good get. Bob has been on board. This is going to be his 3rd year, so he's on top of things. Say that. This is mine. Any other questions?
No.
So we have a meeting coming up in March, the second Monday in March.
Well, I never got a response from everybody as to, Scott's been out and his board didn't answer, but on the calendar, the tentative date would be for the FinCom, the Selectmen, and the CPC to meet on Monday, March 5th. That doesn't really work for you that well.
Doesn't work for me that well, but I can call in.
He was hoping for it to move possibly February 26th, the Monday before.
If that's a possibility, that would
It's
work
wide
better.
open night for the Selectmen, I just don't know
Sure.
if the Finance Committee's availability.
Yeah, FinCom's available. I don't mind meeting.
February
We'll meet-
26th?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll meet Monday or Wednesday night
I'm
this
gonna
week.
I'll ask the FinCom if they can move.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. That would
No,
work
that's
for me.
splendid.
All right, that's where we are, and great committee, unbelievable.
Fun.
It's fun. We have,
Excellent.
Glad you're having
Save
fun.
lots of money.
I think I'm the least talented person in the committee. It's
Oh,
it's
wow.
really
Come on.
quite a committee. So
Well, that's awesome.
we're
Wonderful.
doing
Thank
well.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm glad you guys are having fun.
Well,
Because we have fun all
you got it fine. All right.
It looks
All right.
like
Lynn?
that grant must be executed by June 30th, 2018, so with luck, we'll know before town meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It
Okay.
is the state.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And great charts.
Yeah.
And readable, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect.
John's the
Can I steal your thumb drive?
What's that? Oh.
Your thumb drive?
Yes, you want that?
Yeah.
Under town urban files, Division 6. It has alterations. Next one down. Division 6, there you go. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. thanks.
All right. Okay, next, we have a request to declare the 2012 Ford Taurus surplus as a trade-in against a new vehicle, allowed to be traded in against the purchase of its replacement. The vehicle has 110,000 miles. It has a steering issue that requires replacement of the steering rack and has an ongoing electrical issue. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then the second request is
Yeah, that was actually altered. It's not gonna be both sergeants, because you can only appoint one to be a signatory under the law.
okay.
So the chief actually revised that request, and it's Eric Shartner only that he's asking for. The paperwork you have in there is for both.
Okay. So we will take that out. You can initial that change.
Yep.
Okay, so this is a request for Sergeant Eric Shartner to be authorized to sign payroll and expense warrants for the police department.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so you can sign those and you can initial where I just
Okay.
put the line through the second name. All right. Yeah, and I owe you a couple of sentences. I realize that today on the this is on the annual town report, and I'll get those to you tomorrow. All right.
Okay.
And then Lisa, I thought your thing was fine.
Okay.
Okay.
What did you think, Chris?
I thought it was okay, but do we need to do the budget for Council on Aging before we do this? Or, I guess my other question is, it's the 2017 annual town report, should we wait to put it in until the following year? Because we haven't done it, we didn't do this in 2017. I don't know, it's just things running through my head.
I don't know, so I will defer to your.
Well, I think
You can give people a heads up that it might be coming,
Okay.
but we haven't done it yet, right?
no.
Right. So is it
So
something
do
that
I need
goes
to
in the
res-
annual town report?
Or do
I don't know.
No, I mean, this does not say we've done anything. This is stating that there's a problem that we feel needs
that
to
we
be addressed.
support.
And I mean, I was thinking, did I miss something there when? No, I mean, this to me, this looks
Right.
forward, and it is something that we have looked at during this year.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, we've been holding the budget, but I wasn't sure quite why.
Well, that's why.
Okay.
Yeah, and George did come in.
They talked
when-
to us
couple
about a
months ago
few
and talked
things,
to us
yeah.
about the fact that we
Yeah, I
needed
mean,
to
this
do
is something that we've
but-
talked on and off about, and I think this is fine, and I don't think this says,
Okay, I don't know that we've actually talked about it as something on the agenda, but that's,
And maybe we should discuss it on the budget tonight, because I do think we have the go-ahead from Council on Aging to.
do we have did they send us a budget?
They sent us a budget, but that was not on there. I did talk to George, he just didn't have this is part of the problem, he didn't have enough time to follow up on it and do something for the budget, so I sort of did the groundwork for him.
Okay,
And looked at the numbers for a part-time director, which were between 47 and 52 for full-time, so the part-time would be about half that, I would assume. And then I guess another decision, I had initially put in a job description for 19 and a half hours, which would put under needing health benefits. I did talk to Emmett Schmarzo, who is the state representative for the Council on Aging, and he did say that you can sometimes have an issue getting somebody part-time without the health benefits.
Yeah, I would
So
think.
we would have to, I guess, discuss that also, whether we wanted to make that the 19 and a half or put it over the, if we're gonna go forward.
I think it'd be better to start with the 19 and a half, see how we do, and you can always tweak it later.
Well, for purposes of the budget, we have to put in a certain amount, and it's
Yeah.
not gonna make a big difference whether it's 19 and a half or 20 hours. The health will come out of the health insurance budget if we end up in the
Yeah.
process having to go with more than 20 hours. You know, in other words, if we go out there with a job, we can't get anybody,
Right.
then we have to consider it. So, but for purposes of the budget tonight, if we put in a figure that's like half-time, that will cover it if it's 21 hours or 19 and a half. I mean, that's what we're looking at tonight.
Okay.
You with me?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, again,
So
I
where do you
think
wanna-
for purposes
okay.
of the budget tonight, and why don't we just go to that?
Okay.
Um, Okay. For purposes of the budget tonight, we would be looking to add in the next fiscal year a half-time director, correct? And that amount you said was?
I think the full-time was between 47 and 52 was one of the solider numbers that I got. Obviously, those numbers, when you pull them, are all over the place because you can't tell if they're benefited, you can't tell how many hours, you can't.
Yeah.
So I took the one I got, this was from West Boylston. Or Bolton, I'd have to pull up my notes.
And
Who
so-
I talked to both of them, so I would say between 20 and 25 would probably be
Okay,
a solid number.
okay. So do we want to say 25 as a matter of budget request?
25,000?
Yes.
Sure,
Okay,
that's fine.
all right, so that would be 0, and so this will be a part-time salary, correct? Or
Is
part-time
this an-
wages?
Is this an
Wages.
hourly?
I have numbers for the
Position?
hourly too. It's-
Or salary?
It would be an hourly, it would be a non-exempt, right? Or an-
Well, I don't know. I mean, normally, I mean,
Do you-
somebody who is a director is in an
Okay.
executive position, and I think according to, you know, sort of federal standards, that would generally be
Okay.
a non-exempt.
Wouldn't you have to make them full-time then?
No,
if you're
you
doing-
could
oh,
do a
you can
part-time
do-
salary, of course.
So they would go over and it wouldn't count?
Right. I mean, you would say that this job is a part-time job. It's approximately
Okay.
20 hours, you know?
Okay,
I mean, just like if it's a full-time job, you'd say, you know, we're expecting 35 hours, but if somebody's salaried and they work 37, that's, you know,
okay,
it works the same way. So you can have a part-time salary as well as
okay.
a part-time wage.
Just wasn't familiar with.
Yeah, and I guess
So
my,
bottom line, this would be salary, the 25?
I would think so. And again, we could check it with
Yeah.
Unless you
council,
put on the-
but see, generally somebody, you know, who is in an executive
Role.
position like that is considered, you know, should be considered a salaried employee rather than a wage
Okay,
employee, albeit part-time. And you can see, I mean, we have a budgetary line for part-time salary.
okay.
Okay?
So is that what we're doing? We're putting it in the part-time line?
That's what we're discussing, part-time
Okay.
salary. Is that fair enough?
That's fine.
Okay.
I just want to get it something in there.
Oh, yeah, yeah, no,
forward
absolutely.
with
So,
that,
all right, so 0 for 2018, and we're putting in 20,000.
And obviously, we can, when we put the thing out, we can look at what's out there and all of that.
Mhm.
That seemed to be a good ballpark.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Okay. Let me just do the math here and we'll get this done, all right? Okay, I've adjusted all, the figures by adding that where appropriate. So motion to approve this budget?
I make the motion, sure.
Second?
So moved.
Any further comments or questions?
I just wonder, in the future, are we gonna see where we're going with this? I mean, is this something that we will even expand further? I think that discussion
Yeah.
may have to be like for next year's budget or
Oh, absolutely.
whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my thought is, just as a heads up, my thought is based on looking at other communities and how they're handling this as these programs expand, that yes, they typically have more staff.
There are more resources that are attached
Right.
to
Well,
it.
they may be doing many more programs than we are at this point, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see that information, is what I'm
I
saying.
actually have some that
Okay.
I can show you, but once again, it's hard because some of them have senior centers, which means the number blows up
Yeah,
like crazy,
right.
and some of them are smaller.
Yep.
So it's,
Okay.
Okay.
I tried to get that from Emmett too. He doesn't quite have that
Now,
level.
who is Emmett?
Emmett is the Massachusetts
Oh, the
liaison
representative.
for
Right,
Council
right.
on Aging. He's got another title, but
Right.
that's essentially.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Hearing no other comments, we'll take a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we got one more budget out of the way today.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Then the update on the three-phase power installation. You guys saw the stuff that I sent around today.
Yeah. It seems to be going in circles a lot.
Well,
So you're gonna.
we're going to have a meeting on
Okay,
Wednesday.
yes.
It seems
Good-
to me to
good
be
plan.
pretty. Yeah. No. What I was suggesting, and I think it actually makes some sense, is that we will go there with that repair plan and do a tape survey, basically, with a measuring tape and
Don't forget your measuring tape.
the angles. Yeah, and then see where we are and how far the treasure is away from the telephone pole. I had suggested that if it was very close, we might want to do a modest excavation, obviously with the homeowner's approval, to be sure that in fact the drawing, was accurate. If we've got, 25 feet or so, then I don't think there's really a necessity to do that, but we need to get there with the plan and do it. I know that Joe and Keith came back, later in the day saying, and, by modest excavation, what I meant is that's a leach pit, okay? That's what that describes. And so, if you take a shovel and you dig down, a hole, like suitable for, planting a shrub, you would be, you would then encounter the top of the leach pit and confirm. So my thought was, if it's like really close, then we may want to ask the landowner if we can, dig a few shovels and see if in fact that is where the thing is. So that's where we'll go with it.
Have fun.
Yeah, keep us
Oh,
posted.
Just shoot me. Anyway, it looks like we will have that meeting about 10.
Yeah.
I don't know if other people have chimed in after about 5 o'clock or so when I stopped looking at
I
emails,
haven't
but.
seen anything.
Well, I was kind of interested in going, but since we can't post it, I won't. I'll let you handle it.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
think
just.
you can go on site visits, can't you?
You can go on site
You can go on
visits,
site
Well,
yes.
visits.
if
That
I-
was-
And we're not
can.
deliberating
You're not deliberating.
anything,
Right.
We're measuring, okay? And, the idea is.
I didn't want to offend anybody if I did show
Yeah,
up.
you don't want to offend anybody.
All right.
And you can
do
show up.
that, Yeah.
What I said was, it wasn't a formal meeting, we're not making any deliberations, we're going and we're.
Getting information.
We're
Yeah,
getting
totally.
information to see,
Right.
okay?
Sounds good.
Yep. And that's what I meant by not a formal meeting, not.
Right.
We weren't necessarily all gonna be there or not gonna be
Okay.
there. Okay?
Yep. Now, wait a minute. Going back now, remind me, what was your submission to the annual report that you were going to work on?
There were two things. I was going to talk very briefly, like 3 or 4 sentences about, going forward with the reorganization of, fire and EMS.
Okay.
And the other was I was going to note in, again, 2 or 3 sentences about the revival of
Home day.
Home Day.
Okay.
That was it.
All right. So it's going to go back on the agenda. I just didn't know. We didn't approve it, so I assumed we're waiting for that, and then we're going to put it on the agenda again.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
All
yeah,
right.
we can take a look at it again. It'll be just a couple sentences. So.
Yeah. Or just
Yeah.
let us look at the additional stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
All right?
All right. Are we on to other stuff?
I was gonna say I have a list, sorry.
Yep, go ahead.
You wanna go first, or?
Oh, mine's
You-
pretty quick. I just had a call from Lynn Ryan saying that there was another error in the alphabet book. She's just all over this book and finding errors, but it's not. It's sort of a good error, I suppose, because the Assabet operating budget assessment, the increase was was put in the book as 261,000, a 74% increase. The correction is that it is 76,557 and a 27% increase.
Okay.
So it was good news.
Yep.
But I told her I would pass it on to you.
Okay.
And then you were working on Joe's, is that on your list?
Just review, yep.
Okay, that was one of my questions.
And I sent
is-
you got.
Yes, I reviewed
Yes.
the.
And it
So-
looked fine. I looked
Okay.
Yep.
great.
Okay. So the rankings for knowledge, productivity. Gosh, I wish you'd been my calculus teacher.
It's easy math.
They're all they're all very good, and
Yeah. I mean, I haven't heard any
No.
complaints or issues, frankly, so.
yeah, no, you see, and I've had very satisfactory interactions with him, and I've had to have, and what you've indicated in terms of commentary is certainly what I
didn't really
consistent with my
follow,
experience.
I think, what is it though? I forget which paragraph it was. Maybe it was this one. I just couldn't follow it because I wasn't involved.
Oh, okay.
But if it makes,
It's accurate.
Yeah.
okay,
It was, we were on the phone like all day with it, all weekend really, but like I was at Jay Teach's New Year's party and we were back and forth the whole time I was there. So yeah.
is that something you want to leave in there then, the whole thing?
Yeah,
I
it's
just,
fine.
okay, I just did not, couldn't follow it.
I can fill you in on what happened
I
there,
didn't know
but
if it
was,
would-
he and
okay.
Henry worked their butts off.
Yeah.
Right,
To get the car back on.
good.
No, I mean, it's
He's been a.
It's accurate. It doesn't- I mean, this
An
is-
asset at the highway
Yeah.
barn meetings, like I've told you in the emails with the minutes, that, you know, the architect is very pleased that he's there. You know, I think he's doing great.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And we budgeted him for,
I cannot remember. You did something.
yeah, I think it was
I can't remember what it was.
3%.
4%.
I think it was 3.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any further comments or questions?
Nope.
Okay. Hearing none, we'll take a vote approving the
I'm
personnel
gonna make a
review
motion
and
to approve.
the increase of 3% to his salary.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
No further comments or questions?
Nope.
Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think you're still working on the fire, right, with Chief Z? The fire pay rates?
Yes.
So that was.
I have not had a chance to talk
Yep.
to him, obviously, because he was out, so.
Just to give it to you, even if you want to hold this till next week, the assessors did review the principal assessor and confirmed a 4% increase,
Okay.
which is how they evaluated her earlier too. So that's just, that was a lingering piece on that spreadsheet. from
Okay,
Jim.
and she signed off on it? No, I mean,
Yeah. So it's done.
yeah.
Great.
So I think it's just fire is the only missing piece.
Yep. So,
Motion to approve?
Second.
any comments or questions?
Nope.
No. Okay. Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That just came in right before the meeting started, so.
Excellent. Next.
This is the permission for them to get access to the information on the adder for the Constellation Energy. It basically gives access to their tool so that they can find out how much money is. Did I make any sense there at all?
No, I remember this. There was a
Okay.
story about a snake last week too, and I didn't
Okay.
understand.
All right.
Yeah.
So the Energy Committee voted to do a teeny tiny adder to the aggregated electricity
Mhm.
that would then accumulate and
Right.
allow them to have seed money for
Okay,
the
so
project
this
that they
allows
do.
them
This allows
the
them to
data that
see
could
the data.
identify the money that's coming in.
Yes.
Sounds
Better?
Sounds good.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Motion to approve, so I'm to sign this to authorize them, correct?
Yep.
All right.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any further comments or questions?
Nope.
Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Right. And more energy committee. You can tell he lives in my house, right? They would like, based on the conversations that sort of surrounded this, they would like Joe to be sort of an ex officio member of the energy committee and attend their meetings when he can. Joe Achu.
Really? Oh,
Yes,
okay.
so that he can offer his expertise on the projects that they are looking at doing.
Mhm.
And also, any money that came in would then flow through building inspector on June's recommendation. That was one of the places it could go.
Sorry?
June felt that the money could sort of end up, if there were budgetary things or whatever, she felt that some of it could go into Joe's budget, I think, was one of the thoughts. You would have to clarify with her. Either way, they want Joe
What would
involved
be
in
the,
their.
oh, yeah, Joe
Yeah.
being involved, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
In another community, Attleboro
Yeah.
had it going through a planning director, but this town doesn't have a.
Sorry,
planning-
these items are what?
The adder money or any revenues that come
The
from.
expenditure of the adder money, is that right?
Well, really, that would go into the general fund, but June said one way to get it out in the future would be to have it regularly budgeted or to do special articles, right? We discussed this at the
Right.
last meeting. And so she was trying to find a cost center because energy doesn't have a cost center. The energy
Yeah, I mean, it could
committee
be, I mean, it could be
Yeah, it could be
selectmen, it could be
anything.
It could
anybody.
be selectmen.
Yeah, okay.
But either way,
But we're
they
not
still-
talking about that
They still
tonight.
want him just
Yeah, no,
because
I
of
think
the
that's fine.
sheer- He knows
Yep.
about the buildings and all of that, so
Yep.
and I talked to him and he was kosher with that.
I
that it
think
was good
that's,
with us.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
You have a problem, any difficulty with that? All right. So I think
Okay.
you can register approval of that.
Do you want to appoint him? I mean, do you think it
No.
needs that? Or just direct
I
him to
just
attend?
wanted to make sure
Ex officio
that you.
member?
Yeah, that he
you
could
were
serve
in
as
the
an ex
loop.
officio member. Say the board agreed that he could
Yeah.
serve as an ex officio member.
All right, the town management study committee, wanted to know if you wanted to, either add extra into legal for the potential, creation of a special act, or if you wanted them to put an article on the now closed warrant, or the next one, or how we wanted to handle that. Probably legal's gonna have to look at whatever they put together if they get approval at this town
Mhm.
meeting.
Mhm.
So they wanted to make sure that we had,
Tim did ask
Money
me
in
if you thought that would be necessary, Tom, go to Copeland and Page and get a quote for that.
Yeah. And I would suggest that we just add it to our legal budget,
okay,
not to a special article on it.
yeah.
Yep.
So
So,
that's just when he wanted to know.
take the
and-
figure.
and-
And, okay, I can ask them about that because as you saw, I sent the inquiry about the administrative steps of that. So when I talk to them about that, I can ask for an estimate of support and then we could just add that to our budget. And when we go to FinCom, indicate that that's, one of the things we're adding into that budget. It's, it's a legal task. I don't see the need to,
Yeah.
use up everybody's time at town
Right.
meeting with a special article on that, but I think the point is well taken. It could generate an expense, and we have added a little extra, but we also, when we did that, we weren't thinking of it, so I think that's fine.
Okay. They were happy with their warrant article. That one doesn't need to be adjusted at all, they don't
Mhm.
think. Tim had some comments on the emails that were going back and forth about the Energy Committee warrant articles, and basically they want to keep those kind of the way they are.
Okay?
And I can clarify if need be, the emails that have been lying on that one. What else, did I have anything else? Weather policy, there was some feedback. I think I need to sit down with Tom Galvin and the fire chief. As I said, this gets more complicated by the minute.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yay.
Let me know if you want any help on that.
Okay.
We'd have to post a meeting probably, but that's,
Yeah, and I
Whatever.
will obviously send you what comes with any of it too.
yeah.
I think that may be it.
Alrighty.
Oh wait, one more. Lucy asked me And I think this partially goes through Peggy Sardell because it's work off, but she asked me if it would be okay with us if they tried to send Marty Miller taking pictures for the newsletter and the town report through his work off program.
So that taking those pictures would be part of what he did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he already takes pictures for historical.
Mhm.
And she just wanted to know, like right now, she wants a nice picture of the town barn. And she wanted to ask him to do that and
Yeah.
wanted to find out if he could send that through work off.
I don't see a
For
problem with that.
Judy, I witness her hours and I sign off for Judy unless the board would like to do that, but I'm here with her. I wouldn't know what Marty's hours are to sign off on them. So I don't know if Lisa wants to be his direct manager on that or something, or since
Does he
she's.
have a manager now?
Well, I know, like I said, he was doing stuff for historical, so maybe at that point it was Barry.
Is he doing any work off?
He was,
He
I don't
is-
know what he's doing currently. I know he's done work off. I think he's on their list, but I'm not sure what he's doing currently. Like I said, this was a text from Lucy.
Okay.
Can we do this?
Well, I think we need to know if he's in fact currently on work
Okay.
off and all that. I mean,
Yeah. My impression was she asked because he was already doing work off and.
And he's,
they
then
wanted
if
to
he's
add
already
some
doing
hours.
work off, then he has a supervisor in work off. And I would suggest, I mean, certainly I don't have a problem with him taking a picture of the town barn.
Yeah.
But it would seem to me
Whoever
she
is
should
doing-
coordinate that and with whoever's signing off and saying, we want him to do that, would you sign off on it, you know?
Okay,
I think that's, okay?
good. Okay. All right, now I'm done.
All righty.
Just one more question. He looks at me.
Yes.
Did you get a chance to look at the Site Plus document? The fellow who was sitting right here at the
No,
last
I
meeting?
haven't.
Okay,
And I said it'd be a week or two.
yeah.
It's been a busy week in Lake Wobegon here, so.
No kidding. The
Yeah,
emails flying back
like,
and forth just
"Wah."
between the two of you, huh? Yeah.
Yeah,
Mary-
I worked like most of this morning,
I
Yeah,
know.
we're watching like-
you know, so anyway.
Well,
Yes, it's on my to-do list, and I have got a few things off this week, so
Good.
there you have
I
it.
never did give you an updated to-do list, as I had hoped.
It's okay. Anything else? Yeah, and I think, you guys,
Do you want that?
do I want that?
Yeah, do you want what's stacked up over there as this like pending to-do pile? Do you want their
Why don't we
your
talk
list?
about it when I come in on my weekly? We can spend 2 or 3 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, whatever on it, okay?
Yes. Chris had asked at the end of the last meeting to be more informed about what is transpiring. So I was asking if a list would be helpful for the board collectively.
Of all the things that we're all to doing?
I guess, yeah, maybe everybody's.
Depending.
Well, what?
Everyone could self-report, or I could take it from the minutes.
Well, actually, what I was,
I
I can share my to-do list with you.
You have one?
Piper and I do
Good
this.
for you.
Well, God.
So nice.
Color-coded and
Look at all those
everything.
pretty Post-its.
wow. No, well, one of the things I was talking about was, I know we have less emails now. And at the last meeting, I can't remember what it was, there was a couple of things where I didn't know what anybody was talking about, and I think I wasn't on that email chain. So I was just saying to Mary, when I was in, the last time I talked to her, was that, can you just put me on, like if you're copying Lisa on something or Tom on something, can you just put me on it so I know what's going on? And that was one of the things that I...
Has it picked up a little bit?
Yes.
Today was good,
I
wasn't
think
it?
I understood everything that was going on.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
But when you miss, if you don't get on, some
I
chain.
generally try, I mean, if I'm sending out something or whatever.
Oh, I know you
generally-
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But-
occasional, and I may need to sit down with you and figure out, because I'm,
Threading?
the Gmail
Yeah,
thing
Writing business.
it's driving me crazy. I can't find the threads, and, I just
Oh.
have now I have hundreds in the box, and
I have trouble
It-
with that too sometimes.
yeah, just, there must be some way to sort these things better than what I have, because all I'm seeing are these
Yeah.
long strings. And it sometimes takes me like 15 minutes to find something that was sent in the last 2 weeks, because there are all of these obscure chains that ... off of the, immediate screen, and, and I can't find the document that Mary sent to me like 2 weeks ago, or, so
Yeah.
there must be some better way, there must be some tools, because, man, what a weedy
Or is it-
email
You can
system.
also- You can also unthread it,
Yeah.
but that would take all of the, like right now it threads them all together, which is what's happening. You're not used to seeing emails threaded together.
Yeah,
So you can also unthread it.
yes,
I'm
you'll have to
pretty
show
sure
me
there's
how
a
to do
setting
that,
to do
because
that.
I think I'm used to unthreaded emails, and I let my mind thread them together,
Needle and
and, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would much rather see,
It's trying to help you.
well, it isn't.
Yeah.
Yes.
It isn't,
Yeah.
yeah. Because
I'll
it's
look-
like, I
I'll
know
look and
Mary
find-
sent
I'll
me
see if I can
something,
find
it's
a
like,
site for you.
I know Mary sent me something like, 6 or 7 days ago. And now, because other people have joined in,
Takes
that
a
email isn't
chronological-
there, and I'm looking at a string of things, and I have to figure, is it that one, is it, it's, and it drives me crazy. So, you have to show me how to unthread it.
Let me find I think it's its setting.
Okay, all right.
It's
Yeah, I mean, I clicked settings, and I didn't see anything that was obvious, but, and also, is it possible to save them into folders or something, because?
You can save the files into folders. I'm not sure
But
about
not
the
the
actual
emails.
emails.
Okay.
Maybe. I just
See, again,
I
because I'm
haven't
used
done
to
it.
email systems
Well,
where you can establish
But there
folders
probably
like,
is.
I
It's
put
just
the
not something
emails
I-
into a selectman folder.
Yeah, and you can-
If it's something
yeah,
that's
you
Yeah,
coming
what
up.
I meant was, because generally
You
what I do
can
is.
star them so that you can get all the starred things. So if you
Yeah.
have something that's important, you can. There's a lot of different mechanisms for
okay.
arranging
But
things.
yeah, again, I'm used to an email system where you can take your email
And pull it to a folder?
pull it into a folder
You can do that.
says police or whatever. The actual
Right.
text of the email, not
Mhm.
the,
Yep.
okay,
You just put, and you have a list
I
of
think you
folders on the
can,
side. You
yeah.
can do that.
okay. And you can establish folders like for police. Okay, that's what I need to do, because then that would help me
Yep.
greatly. If I unstring them and could do the folders, then
Yep.
I'm working in an environment that I'm used to
hmm
working in, so, all right.
And I do
Um,
love, like, if there's pending stuff, I do love the little star thing because then you can pull out all
Yeah,
your
no,
stars and that sort of
I
thing.
should look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think at one point, a couple points this past week, because I was doing stuff for church, that's on one email system. And I have stuff from the office, and a few things, like the National Grid is still coming into my office thing, because that's been out there, for a while. And then I have the Gmail, so I have like 3 emails open. Anyway. All right, anything else?
To Wednesday night,
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna go to the
Yes,
ZBA
no, that's good, you talked
meeting,
about it.
6:30.
Yeah, I will not be able to make it on Wednesday night, but
Okay.
I will talk to Amy, and.
I was gonna say either that, or when I talked to Lynn the other day,
I'll talk to
she
Amy
said,
and Lynn beforehand.
she said, if he doesn't talk to us, maybe he could send you his thoughts. Or
No, I will talk to them tomorrow
Okay.
or Wednesday.
And you
All right.
wanted me there too, or not?
You don't have to be, unless you'd like to
Okay.
be.
If I don't have to do one more meeting, if I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
okay.
I'll bring
No, and I will definitely talk to them and let you know.
All right.
I kind of pre-warned Leanne that whatever her minutes were might be what the board might want to borrow, since you're going to be in joint session.
That would be nice.
You might not have to write.
Right.
Yep,
It's already ascribed there, unless you
well,
want me
that's only
there.
if 2 people go, so there's only 1 person going.
True.
That's true.
Yeah,
So,
There
so
we
you
go.
don't have to worry about
You
that.
don't need minutes at all.
Yep.
There you go. Well done.
All right. And Mary, I know the health on the home front aside, you're going to be in on Wednesday?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I will give you a heads up. That's,
as they say in Islam, God willing, if you're here.
Thank you.
Um,
Yes, that is correct.
I think I'm going to try to set up that site visit on the pole at 10 o'clock, and then
Oh, okay.
I can come in and see you after that. I'm
Yeah.
just, but I haven't scheduled you because
I'll warn
I'm
you
trying to
if
get
that
like
changes.
at least 4 or 5 people together for that, okay?
Okay, yep.
All right, and we'll touch base on that. hopefully during the day tomorrow, I'll
Okay.
get enough responses that I know exactly when that is.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
All right.
All righty.
Would you like a motion to adjourn?
Oh, I'd love that.
So moved.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.